Welcome to Unanetstream, where real stories meet real emotions.
I gave him everything. Why would he do this? How could he hide this from me? He'd do this to me.
Built this together, or so I thought.
But everything was a lie.
First time here? Tell us where you're watching from for a shout out in our next video. Rachel and Chris had known each other since college. Their relationship started off like any other, two people who found comfort in one another's company. Rachel had always been ambitious. Chris, on the other hand, was her support, her rock. Together, they decided to start a business, a vision they shared of creating something bigger than themselves. They poured their time, money, and energy into this company, with Rachel handling the creative side while Chris managed the finances. Slowly but surely, their dreams started taking shape. The business grew, and so did their trust. Rachel had no doubt that they were building something strong, something that would last forever. It wasn't just business, it was a partnership, a brotherhood. Rachel trusted Chris completely, and for a while, everything seemed perfect. They celebrated every small victory together. A new deal, a satisfied customer, their first office space. It felt like the world was at their feet. But as the company grew, so did the pressure. The stress started taking a toll on both of them. Late nights became common. Meetings stretched well into the night. Rachel, always the dreamer, worked tirelessly to expand their reach. But Chris, he became more distant, more secretive. Rachel noticed the change in Chris when he started acting oddly. He would disappear for hours, not answering calls or messages. He'd go out for long lunches. And when she asked him about it, he always had an excuse. She brushed it off at first. Business was stressful, but there was a nagging feeling in the back of her mind that something wasn't right. The first real sign came when Rachel was going through some financial documents one evening. She was just doing her usual check of the books, but something stood out. There was a transaction, a large transfer of money that Rachel didn't recognize. She looked closer. It was to an account she had never seen before, an account only Chris had access to. Her heart dropped. Rachel's mind raced. Could it be? Had Chris been hiding something from her? She couldn't ignore it anymore. So she confronted him and said, "Chris, what's this account? Why didn't you tell me about it?" Chris froze. His face went pale. He tried to brush it off, claiming it was nothing, just a technical mistake, but Rachel wasn't convinced. Chris's lies began to unravel as Rachel dug deeper. She discovered a trail of suspicious transactions. It wasn't just one account, it was a network of hidden finances that Chris had secretly been managing without her knowledge. The worst part, Chris was selling off portions of their company, negotiating with an investor behind her back. She felt her world come crashing down. The man she trusted with everything had been deceiving her from the start. Rachel finally had enough. She demanded answers. The confrontation wasn't just about money, it was about betrayal. Chris admitted to it, but his reasoning made it worse. He claimed he was trying to save the company without telling her he had sold their future to get out of financial trouble. Without her consent, the man who promised to build a life with her had just destroyed everything. The days after the confrontation were filled with pain and disbelief. Rachel couldn't process what had happened. She poured everything into this business, and now she was left with nothing but a broken trust. Chris had taken their dream, their partnership, and sold it for a quick way out. Rachel didn't just lose a business, she lost a friend, a lover, and a partner. But Rachel wasn't one to give up. She decided to take back control. She fired Chris and began to rebuild the business from the ground up. It wasn't easy, nothing was handed to her, but every day she pushed forward. She started new projects, found new investors, and restructured the company. For the first time, she wasn't just fighting for the business, she was fighting for herself. The rebuilding process was long and hard. There were nights when Rachel wanted to give up, when the weight of it all was too much to bear, but each time she thought about the betrayal, she found the strength to push forward. She knew she had to do this, not just for her company, but for her own healing. Every failure was a lesson, every setback a chance to rise again. Slowly but surely, Rachel's hard work began to pay off. The company started gaining traction again. She surrounded herself with a new team, people she could trust, and began to see the fruits of her labor. Chris's betrayal, painful as it was, had made her stronger, and the company was better for it. Rachel realized something important. It wasn't just about the business. It was about her journey. She had been through the worst. And yet she stood stronger than ever. She had reclaimed her life. The trust she had lost would take time to rebuild. But she was no longer the same person she was before the betrayal. She had become her own hero. Rachel found a group of passionate, loyal people who helped her turn her dream back into a thriving reality. Together, they built a company that was more than just a business. It was a community, and Rachel had become the leader she was always meant to be. As Rachel stood in front of a room full of clients and investors speaking at a major conference, she thought back to the pain of the betrayal, but now that pain was just a memory, a lesson learned. She had come through it, and now she was in control. She had built something stronger than before. Rachel's journey had been long and painful, but it had taught her one powerful lesson: trust is precious. She had learned to trust again, not just others, but herself. Her strength, her resilience, had carried her through the darkest moments, and she knew that no matter what happened, she would never lose herself again. The road to recovery wasn't easy. There were moments when Rachel felt like giving up, but every setback became a stepping stone, and every failure a lesson. She was determined to keep moving forward. Rachel's company was not only surviving, it was thriving. She had a new vision, a stronger foundation, and a deeper understanding of what truly mattered. She had turned betrayal into an opportunity, a chance to grow and build something more meaningful. Chris came back into Rachel's life, not as a partner, but as a reminder. He asked for forgiveness, but Rachel had already moved on. The past was behind her, and there was no going back. Rachel's redemption wasn't just about forgiving Chris. It was about forgiving herself. She had learned that betrayal wasn't the end, it was just the beginning of a new chapter. What would you do if someone you trusted betrayed you? Could you rise again? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories of betrayal and redemption. Rachel has rebuilt her life, but what happens to Chris? The truth is about to unfold in ways you won't believe. Stay tuned and subscribe to see what happens to him next.